Hey murderers, it's Mandy, and welcome back to The Wandering Crow. This is part 3 of our SkinWalker Ranch series, and we are finally going to finish up discussing our very, very deep dive of SkinWalker Ranch and all the happenings there. So stay tuned for a continuation of our discussion on the SkinWalker Ranch. Be right back after this.
There is a medicine story that tells of Crow's fascination with her own shadow. She kept looking at it, pecking at it until her shadow woke up and became alive. Then Crow's shadow ate her. Crow is dead Crow now. Join us as we attempt to look through the wandering crow's eye to find the gateway to the supernatural, to seek to know the unknowable mysteries of creation. Welcome to the Wandering Crow podcast.
Cameron, I heard you talk about NIDS. What's NIDS?
National Institute for
Discovery
Sciences,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that bought out the ranch. I think they're the ones that bought it out after the Shermans.
Well, that's Robert.
Mm-hmm.
They bought
That's
it
Robert
out.
Bigelow,
Bigelow
Yes.
bought it out, and he founded
Yes.
NIDS.
Yes.
and it was a government-sponsored program.
Were
Yes.
they? I didn't know they were
I
government
believe.
sponsored.
I believe that. Well, the government had something to do with that. There's the BAASS program as well, but
Like subsidized.
yeah,
and they were focused on secrecy.
subsidized because
So that would make sense because they were initially focused on secrecy. They had signs everywhere saying, do not trespass.
right.
You will be arrested, this and that. There were roadblocks, all kinds of stuff. They wanted this place contamination free.
Right.
They wanted no random wanderers to come through and be like, oh, well, maybe that's why. They shut down this place.
Mm-hmm.
The roads leading to it, everything. And they were focused on trying to capture evidence of this and try to find the science behind it. Which, if it was government founded, that makes perfect sense. They want to figure out, is there any kind of technology we can gain from this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
Totally.
They had cameras, motion sensors, laser guided equipment that, like, kind of, I think it was more so like those grids that you see in paranormal hunting videos.
Oh,
you know, like where
I
it's
know what you mean with the
dotted
dots everywhere.
lights.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
those. That's so
I think
cool.
it was more so that, but it was described as like laser guided
Well-
infrared. But
Well, let me pop that balloon there, of that balloon of belief. So Bigelow buys the ranch in 1996. He immediately founds NIDS. Okay. So Colin Kelleher, he's the doctorate, and he's sort of leading the project. Then they sort of adopt in this journalist by the name of George Knapp, and they actually are on the ranch for almost a decade before they write the book Hunt for the Skinwalker. And that's where they detail all of the experiences that they've had. I actually question, I don't think they revealed everything. I think that there's things that they have not released, which are proprietary, that Bigelow kept as proprietary. And I don't know why, but it seems like some of the information maybe is missing. But here's what I wanted to say. It wasn't until after Hunt for the Skinwalker was published and a Defense Intelligence agent official actually read it that he decided, you know what, I want to check this out for myself. So he actually went to SkinWalker Ranch. This is in 2005. This is after almost 10 years of NIDS having been on the scene. He goes there, he has an experience, and he's like, holy shit, we need to be looking at this. So then Bigelow's like, hey, this DIA guy was just here. He had this crazy experience. I think this is something that we need to look at. So his friend is a congressman, Harry Reid. And Harry Reid with another guy by the name of Ted Stevens decide, you know what, this is a big deal. We have someone who's in official channels, and that person, I don't have the name of that person, who had an actual experience, who says that there's a real threat here. There's something really happening here. We need to investigate this. So then they insert a line into the Department of Defense budget in the year of 2005 to add a $22 million line item to study UAPs. Now, that money did not all go to SkinWalker Ranch. SkinWalker Ranch was part of the study, but that $22 million was actually a program called ATIP, which studied all UAPs all throughout the United States. and
Didn't they have a
associated
hand
territories.
in that MUFON?
MUFON?
Yeah, I think
I
ATIP
don't
had a
know.
hand in MUFON.
I have no information on that. I know nothing about that. I'm just saying, if we want to say that Bigelow created NIDS and all of NIDS was funded by the Department of Defense, that's actually incorrect. For the first 10 years, Robert
No,
Bigelow was
not
footing
all
that
of it.
bill by himself.
Right.
Well, for the first 10 years, he did it all himself. And then the remaining 11 years, some of that money, and I think that there is probably an implication there that $22 million just disappeared on some ridiculous program. And some people probably have inferred all 22 million went to SkinWalker Ranch and maybe that money was embezzled. I don't think that's what actually happened. It seems like there was a project that was created and this $22 million was used to fund that project, and SkinWalker Ranch and the study of it was part of the goal. Or I think that it was at least in part studied by ATIP, but VAS was a separate program owned by Robert Bigelow. I think it's Bigelow Aerospace something or other. Aerospace Systems. I don't know what it actually was. So I know we were saying the government funded a lot of the study, but at least for the first 9 years, the government did not and had nothing to do with it.
And
You know,
that
that's
book,
been
by the
disclosed.
way, even the Shermans said that it was based on actual events. The Shermans basically discredited the book. They said that's not really how it happened.
Really? The Shermans did?
Yep. But they refused to say what actually happened. They refused to clear the air as to what was wrong. They just say that was based on actual events.
Interesting.
So they basically added the air of skepticism without clearing it. Like they didn't say what was wrong with it. They just said
That's
that's
very
not what
interesting.
happened.
Well, I wonder, there's a lot of accounts in Hunt for Skinwalker that are supposed to be direct accounts directly from the Shermans. Like, this is Colin Kelleher saying, the Shermans told me this story. The Shermans told me that story. Like, there's
And
a lot
that's
that he's
exactly the
quoting.
parts that he was saying wasn't true.
But he won't say what parts weren't true.
Exactly.
I know that the calf is true because we have pictures of that. And by then, NIDS was there.
Yeah.
So they responded fairly quickly. But the wolf, who knows? That one is a weird story I can't make heads or tails of.
Well, I've heard that story from the Shermans. They used a pseudonym, but it was in interviews.
Oh, the Gormans?
The Gormans.
Yeah. And then the post-Huller story, pretty sure that one's true because that one's been recounted by other neighbors and stuff who were also involved at that time. So I don't know what parts of the stories they're saying were not true. I actually am very curious about that. I wish they would say.
Yeah.
Because,
It's a bizarre thing to say and then just leave it hanging.
yeah, it's really weird. Just to create that air of mystery and that air of disbelief. It's very weird.
Have you read anything about secret medical experiments happening on the ranch during NIDS?
JT, you are a little far from your mic.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Have you guys heard of secret medical experiments happening while NIDS was there?
No.
No. Tell me more, please.
I don't know. I couldn't find much about it because I don't know how much of the actual NIDS research is available because
Very little.
I don't think they released a lot or they redacted a lot because I believe there was some government involvement. And so the current show has had a couple of military people come on their show and recount stories of when they were, and this was government backing time. So after the government got involved, of different situations happening, like there was an underground network of tunnels under the mesa that there was a military person that guarded the entrance.
That's not the first time I've ever heard of military tunnels.
Right. And then
Now, wait, did the military make those tunnels or were those tunnels already there?
that's the question. We don't know.
Interesting.
But that's
Okay.
So when we talked about the story of the metal that they found when they were drilling into the mesa, and it was those rare elements that they found on the pieces of metals that were coming off of whatever they were drilling in the in the mesa itself. That's kind of what they're saying. Like, this was secret alien technology that was in these tunnels, or created these tunnels, or these structures. So there's evidence that they're finding in these shows from different scans that they're doing, different current LiDAR, radar, whatever they're called, where they can actually kind of see that there's voids in the mesa and under SkinWalker Ranch of these tunnels. Mm-hmm. But they also know, they've had a geologist out to look at the side of the mesa where these voids are, and it looks like they specifically blew up the side of the mesa to cave in so nobody could access these tunnels.
I saw that episode. That's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like we need to drill.
I think they need to do GPR, get some ground penetrating radar, map it out as much as you can.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. They've done some
choice.
GPR.
No, you need to drill.
Yeah.
GPR and soil samples first, man.
Boots on the ground. We're Star Trek, not real scientists.
That's what they're finding. They did GPR last season, and then they've kind of doubled down this season and done a few more research into GPR, but they haven't released the episodes to say more of what they're finding. So,
Yeah.
because they've done some other drilling where they drill straight down into these voids, and the drill bit stops because it's too hard for them to drill.
Oh.
They can't penetrate through, and then the drill bit comes up, and it looks brand new, like it hasn't even drilled anything.
Really? That's weird.
We're talking like force fields.
That's interesting.
And there's nothing. There's no core sample either.
Oh, so they're not even getting stuff up.
They're not even getting stuff up. Like, they go down, they drill, they stop, and then 2 feet before where it stops, the core sample is it's not
Just
there.
Slides down.
It slides down back in, or whatever it was chewing up doesn't stay in the drill bit core sample, whereas you have the dirt that stays in the core sample.
That's insane.
Well, then what kind of selective force field would that be? Because if the drill bit stops, but the core sample is able to slide right through, that's weird.
It's very strange. And
What do they say, JT?
maybe it's magnetic.
There's that colonel. He's either a colonel or a retired general, an army guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's been on the show a few times, and he has a phrase that he uses, like selective sentience or something. Or what is that phrase he uses?
I can't remember the phrase you're talking about.
Unknown sentient something. But basically he's saying whatever it is seems to be thinking, seems to be able to reason, because whatever it is... So, like, one of the things that skeptics will say is, well,
it's
NIDS...
back to what we were saying, too. Sorry.
What?
With the people versus the cattle.
Right. There's some sentience, there's some thinking and reasoning there. Well, skeptics will say NIDS failed. And what is the exact thing that NIDS says? Skeptical author Robert Schaefer believes the phenomenon at SkinWalker Ranch to be, quote, almost certainly illusory, end quote, given that NIDSI found no proof after several years of monitoring, and that the previous owners of the property, who had lived there for 60 years, say no supernatural events of any kind ever happened there. So he's saying NIDS didn't find squat, so they didn't prove anything. But that's actually not true. They actually were able to recount a lot of stuff, and I've seen samples of things. I've seen strange metal fragments that they recovered. There's stuff. They just weren't able to specifically say, we have proved that it's this thing. But I feel like there's enough, at least circumstantial evidence, that they were able to say something is happening here. We don't know what. We failed to prove what it is or identify what it is, but I feel personally that they did prove that something's there. Where was I going? Why did I bring this up? This is what I was going to say. So what they said they would do is they tried to use the scientific method, and they felt personally that the scientific method could not apply to SkinWalker Ranch. And it couldn't because they'd have a scenario happen. For example, they built these, what are they called? Like a dog run, except not for dogs. They would put cow and sometimes dogs in them. and they would have these observation decks very nearby, and they would have cameras all over it, and then a lock would go missing. And then they would relock it, and then the lock would pop off, and it would end up somewhere else. And they had like all of this weird tampering. So then they would change all of their methodology. So like what they would do is they would have something happen. They'd say, okay, we're going to study it. This weird thing happened. So next time this thing happens, we're going to respond in the following way. And they'd create these long, like pretty intricate plans of how to manage the strange behaviors that were happening. And they would have a plan, and either the event would never happen again, or it would happen in such a way that it would void all of the careful planning that they had done. Like, how are we going to respond?
That was the best part. It's
Yes.
like it would happen in a way that would specifically undermine those new protocols they put up.
Which infers whatever it is that's happening, it's not a geologic process. It's not happening in a predictable pattern. There's something very unpredictable and thinking happening.
It's a trickster god is what it is. It's
That's
a trickster
what it seems
god.
like, Cameron. I think it's a trickster god. That's where I ended on this. Oh, we're going to talk about that later. So, that was something that happened with the NIDS team, and they were there from 1996 all the way to 2016. I guess.
No, NIDS was
do you know,
NIDS was
JT
shut down in 2004.
Oh, well then Bigelow sold the land in 2016.
He sold the land in 2016.
Oh, so they shut down a year before the DIA program, that $22 million got approved.
Oh.
That's interesting. So maybe military
if they
was
were
out
kind
there
of-
doing stuff.
That's
I wonder if they were economically pressured to shut down.
Well, he's a billionaire. What kind
He
of
is.
pressure would cause Robert Bigelow to back down? If anything, he's
Anything that would cause there to be like a severe loss, as
I don't
opposed
know.
to, income.
I feel like,
He's pragmatic. That's
If
how
any-
he got his money.
I mean, maybe. And then that begs the question, why did he sell the land? If this longtime person who has an interest in the unexplained, and particularly for Bigelow, aliens and UFOs, why did he sell this land at all?
NIDS is gone. Government funding dried up.
So he just bailed? Like, I'm not prepared to put more money into this, you think?
So he sold it to another paranormal investigator because
Basically.
he does have an interest in it,
Yeah.
but he didn't want to have the financial burden.
And maybe that explains this next thing. So this is, so really I don't have much to say because I personally feel like the Bigelow team and NIDS, I think there's probably quite a bit that they haven't shared. But the one thing is, I will say is this is a story that's been recounted a few times. It was on the Hunt for Skinwalker Ranch documentary. It was in the Hunt for Skinwalker book. And I saw that either Colonel or General, I can't quite remember, and I don't remember his name, talk about it on the new Secret of Skinwalker Ranch show. There is this story that they were all out. I think they were at Homestead 2. I don't recall exactly. It was in the evening. And all of a sudden, this orange-yellow ball of light appears just overhead of them and not very far, maybe 30 or 40 feet in front of them. And they can see it visibly with their own eyes. And as they watch, it looks like there's some person or being low crawling through this portal. And when it gets to the end of the portal, it's able to kind of almost grab the edges of the portal as if it's something material, pull itself out, lands on the ground, brushes itself off, and runs away. So something came through this portal and ran away, and they never saw it again, which is incredible.
I love that. It's like a tweaker getting out of an insane asylum.
Right? It's like someone
He's just off
escaped
in the wild
jail.
now.
He escaped jail. And they did have stories of, they call it the predator creature. They
Yep.
would see sometimes something in the tree, like glimmerman, like a shimmering, like something moving, and the air around it was glimmering in a weird way that made them
They
feel
said
like something
shimmering,
was
but-
cloaked.
Yeah, they described it like the predator when it has its cloak on.
And it has its cloak
You can
on
see
it.
the outline, you can see through it, but there's like a distortion there.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying. So,
And I've seen videos of that too.
have you from Skinwalker Ranch?
No,
Oh.
in like the woods of North America.
Other places.
Before we were really able to do that on a personal level. So it was like
Yes.
early 90s footage of these people that were out camping and they heard noises and then they recorded and they saw that and they like left.
Yeah, I think they call it Glimmerman. That's the Glimmerman phenomenon. So I don't know. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add to the Bigelow time? I mean, nothing.
There was one other thing
Stands
that
out to me.
that this naysayer Robert Schaefer.
Yeah.
There were two former security guards, a Chris Marks and a Christopher Bartell, that believed that they were unwitting victims of secret non-lethal weapons tested by BAASS at the
Okay.
ranch.
That would make a lot of sense.
And that
That's
was
Bigelow's aerospace
yeah, and
program.
that's Dr. Kit Green, who was the one doing those experiments. But they felt like
so he had a hand in non-lethal weapons.
yeah, because they felt like they were being monitored while they were, on active duty at the ranch. Like there was something happening where they were able to monitor what they were doing, their brain scans or something like that.
I want to say it's kind of a silly notion to say that they think they were being monitored on one of the places that had the most cameras. They had cameras pointing at other
Right.
cameras.
Yeah. So what was
But-
the physical impact? Like, what made them feel like they were experimented on?
This just they believe that they were unwitting victims of that. That's pretty much all he says about it.
Man, I wish I knew. Like,
He says
Okay.
his suspicion was there was no weapons testing, but more likely a passive monitoring of individuals who might experience some physiological effects from the presence at Skinwalker Ranch. So like there is documented cases of weird people feeling uneasy, people feeling nauseous or whatever from the energies that exist there.
Here's the only thing I have to say about that is that happened before Bigelow purchased the ranch. The hitchhiker effect.
oh, the
That's
feelings.
exactly what their friend
Okay.
felt.
Yeah.
So that existed before Bigelow got there.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that would be good protocol, honestly. If from the perspective of a manager, I mean, would you not want to? I mean, you've got all of these human beings who are there, getting paid to be there, and stuff is happening. Why would you not collect data about things that are happening to
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Even if you're not the one doing it, especially if you're not the one doing it, I would want to monitor my people and make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
Please tell me if you contract cancer.
Or, yeah, I mean, especially since we've seen what's happening to the new team that's there, Fugal's team, with all of the weird radiation burns and stuff. Like, why wouldn't you be doing medical monitoring? A, because you need to make sure that your people are safe, because that's a huge liability. And B, because those are data points. Why would you not collect that information?
And
I mean, they're there anyway.
it's very
Why not?
during the show that safety is like number one. That's Dragon's whole purpose on the
Yeah.
ranch is safety.
Is that his whole purpose? I love Dragon.
He's like their security, safety chief.
He's
Like, that's his job.
All he needs in front of his name is Night Dragon, and he's straight from Step
well.
Brothers.
Here's the interesting thing about Dragon. He and Fugal served a Mormon mission together.
No way.
Yes. And they're like,
I know that they're like best
yeah,
friends.
they're like best friends.
That's funny.
Please tell me, how did a professional man who has a real job get the name of Dragon?
It's a good question.
Yeah, is he
like-
born with that name, or?
Like, his job is to be taken seriously. He does real work. Why
And he
Dragon?
he takes it seriously too. It's not like he's
He-
some
he
dude
does
who's just
seem
there
to.
to get on camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who he kind of reminds me of a little bit? He kind of just slightly reminds me of Dwight Schrute. Like, he's like, there is a little bit of that energy. This is from The Office. I don't
Yeah.
know if either of you watched
Oh,
that
yeah.
show.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a little bit of that extra, I'm the security guy. Like, not that he's like
He
ridiculous.
just takes it seriously.
He takes it
Yeah.
so seriously. It's so important to him. I feel like it's a part of his identity
Like,
is security. I am the security
The
guy.
first few seasons of the show, he was very relentless in there's no digging. We are not digging.
Oh.
He was very adamant of that.
Now, okay. He doesn't have to let anyone dig. What about automated digging protocol? If a machine goes out there and you program it to wander forth and dig at a certain point, set it random, what happens?
I mean, that is a curious
Well-
question. You know, does the hitchhiker effect mean that whoever programs it gets the impact? Does it matter?
But that person didn't program it where to dig.
Well, the person who's digging is not usually the one who experiences the phenomena. I mean, sometimes they are, but most of the time it's somebody randomly on the ranch somewhere.
Thomas
who gets-
Winterton
Okay.
was the first one to dig, and when he first started digging, that's when he had the weird thing happen to his skull, where his skull started separating from his skin started separating
Hey,
from
what?
his skull.
Oh, the X-rays are incredible. Actually, it's a CT scan. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He has this massive
Hematoma,
hematoma. It
that's
looks
what it
like
is.
he's got a cone
Yeah.
head. He looks
I
like
have
cone
not
headed.
seen that.
Oh, you got to look
Yeah,
it up.
Thomas Winterton. He's
Wow.
one that
It's undeniable.
when the first time he dug, that happened to him, and it took him like months to recover from that.
I mean, it just I don't like to
No
me.
doubt.
It looks like blunt force trauma. It looks like
That's
a
what I was thinking.
localized area was smashed and there was a huge collection of blood and swelling, you know, in this one location of his head. But that's not what happened. He was literally just standing there.
And so the first time they actually do some actual digging on the show, they have a just regular piece of equipment, and they start scraping some dirt off the top, and inexplicably the whole machine just shut down. Couldn't get it restarted. The next day they come back and it restarts, no problem.
I saw that recently. I was watching. I'm in season 3.
Season 3.
And Cameron, I want you to note this because they decided to bulldoze a tree just to start poking
Yeah.
stuff and see what happens. Like right at this point, they're like, "Fuck it, let's see what happens. We haven't done this thing yet. Let's do it." So they pick a tree, a really pretty tree, and they get a bulldozer and they go to bulldoze it, and they get the tree down, and then bam, the battery is dead,
That's right.
sucked dry.
The battery is dead.
Battery is gone. What does that remind you of from a paranormal investigator standpoint?
A poltergeist drawing its energy to attack.
And immediately, in the same day, someone ends up with an injury. Someone ends up having to go to the hospital. Was that the
course
same
they did.
day that they did the... oh, no, that was a different one. But someone ends up with an injury, and I don't remember exactly what the injury was. And then at another time, they're drilling, and then the other guy... And then this is when the current land manager, like the caretaker, ends up with the arrhythmia.
Right.
So, like, back to back, every time they're doing something like that happens. They have some kind of problem. Boom. So, oh, I remember what it was. I remember what it was. So they bulldoze the tree. Battery dies. And I think, oh shit, something's about to manifest, because that's what happens in a paranormal investigation. Your batteries die because the entity's sucking it out so it can do something, right? Like it needs the energy to manifest. So that night, as soon as the sun goes down, they catch on the cameras this incredible orb. And they called it a UAP, but to me, Cameron, coming from a paranormal investigator standpoint, it was clearly an orb. It was absolutely and without doubt an orb, and it was moving purposefully, swaying. It disappears, like it shows up in front of some trees, it disappears behind some trees. And that's how they were able to decide that it wasn't camera flare and it wasn't a bug on the lens, because of the way that it moved in space. Like it was definitely in front of a tree at one point, and then it disappeared behind a tree later. So they knew it was something in the field of
And
vision.
that was near Homestead 2.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Yep. I remember that.
So, and I don't remember why we're talking about that, but I just thought that that was important to point out, because to me, they are very bent on the alien angle, which is one of my biggest criticisms. I feel like
we were talking about why Dragon could have possibly gotten his name, and then we started talking about why they don't dig.
right.
And
Well,
that's why we got here.
okay. Since I'm saying it, I want to finish the thought. I feel like in the scientific method, there's one of two ways you approach a thing. In the one way, you do a series of tests and you're just collecting data, and you let the data tell you what the story is, right? Like you let the data tell you what is the most likely suspect. And then once you've narrowed down a hypothesis, then you test the hypothesis, right? But to me, it seems like no matter what data they collect, they always bring it back to the alien angle.
Well,
always-
the true scientific method is you have your theory, you collect the data, you let the data present itself, and you form a hypothesis on the data, not
Yeah.
your theory.
Right. And you
Your
let the
theory
data
just forms
say,
how you're collecting the data.
right, yeah, you're right, how you collect the data. But it seems like no matter what happens or whatever data they collect, they always interpret the data, this means it's an alien. This
And
means,
all I'm saying is that they're doing it wrong.
I
Is
agree.
that they're trying to form the data to their theory, as opposed to form the data so that they can make a hypothesis.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that, JT, because I've only watched part of one season of what they're doing right now. But that really bothers me because there's some things that I'm seeing that clearly to me very much indicate not alien, but spirit.
Well, in this season, I really feel like
Altered
they're
dimension.
going away from the paranormal side of things. Because in the first season, I don't know if you remember, Candace, Lindy, and Thomas Lewis, the caretakers that actually live on the ranch, they went.
I never watched the first
Oh, you
season.
didn't? They went and explored the basement of the house they live in, and they actually found a cemented-in room underneath their basement, because they always talk about how they hear things in their basement. And so they actually drilled a hole
their
and
basement?
stuck a camera through into this other room that they didn't know was there.
I've seen recaps about that.
So
So they have a second basement. Good
yeah,
However,
Wait, are you finished with
Holy
your
shit.
thought, JT? Yeah. You're finished with your thought.
well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, they've done a lot of paranormal things, like the rabbi coming, opening a portal. They had this famous Native American drum group that's made up of
cool.
different tribes that get together and do drum circles. And they've explored like opening portals with this Native American drum group. I think it's in season 4 that you'll see that.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's good. Because from what
No.
I've seen, it seems like they're constantly trying to shoehorn stuff. But what I view makes me think, I think they're too narrow in their focus right now. Cameron, what were
I
you going
think
to
they
say?
should try a healing drum circle.
Yeah.
You know
yeah,
those drum circles that sort of like heal and shoo away the bad spirits?
Mm-hmm.
Try that. I don't think it'll end well.
I'm very
I don't think so
curious
either.
about that as
I
well.
wouldn't
Last time I came across one of those, it like hurt my chest. And I suspect if they do that in this land, that it's going to have a response.
Yeah, I don't think it would go
Well,
unanswered.
You'll have to watch the episode where they do that, and then again in this current season they replay that to try to get so all they're doing right now, it seems like, is they know how to get a reaction of a UAP. They know what they need to do to get these reactions to get the ranch to respond. There's the mysterious signal that they talk about, or the communication
The
signal.
1.6.
The 1.6, which
Yeah.
supposedly is a government communication signal.
Interesting.
But they continually get that. And then have you seen where they're focusing on the triangle?
Yes, I'm into that. So, Cameron, to bring you up to speed, so maybe they try different theories each season. But so at the moment where I am in the show, and we're going to talk about the fact that there is a show at all. I think that's important to discuss. But at the moment, what they're investigating is they've kind of pinpointed this area where there's a lot of like they've named it the triangle, and I'm not exactly sure how they came to this geographic location, but they marked it out with a bulldozer and created this big pathway so they can see where the triangle is. And there's a lot of strange things that happen there, and they will, like, so they think that there's some kind of portal above the triangle, and they did a lot of targeted tests to try and examine that and collect data on that. So they tried to do, from a helicopter, a drop of these soda pop bottles filled with different electronic trackers
Yes.
of various types. So like GPS, radar, other kinds of like collection type tools inside of these bottles. And every single one except two, actually no, every single one managed to fall outside of the target area. And their GPS was malfunctioning. And so it said that they were like a mile away from where they really were. It said that they were on top of the area, but then when they looked, they were way farther away than they actually were. And when they were right on top of it, dropping it down on a windless day, these things were blowing wildly off course. And I don't even know if they collected all of them. But the two that they collected, the GPS data was, I mean, to me, seems corrupted because it said that they were flying. No, that was the rockets. Oh my God. And then they've shot rockets through it.
Yeah, they've shot rockets through it. There's rockets that
And
exploded.
the rockets will explode and not fly correctly. And one rocket, they actually finally got it to fly correctly. And then about halfway up, just below where they think the portal is, like just below it, all of a sudden and without explanation, this thing goes from going straight up to going almost 90 degrees
Right.
to the side.
Right.
Like not quite.
Not quite, but
And and there was no wind.
Once again, they are biased to getting a response. I don't trust anything a TV show does,
Yes.
but that's interesting.
It's very interesting.
a lot of the data they collect is very interesting because they've sent up, like they've had instruments on the helicopter that they have, and the instruments in real time are showing the helicopter 200 feet underground, not where they are in the air.
Which is so weird.
The helicopter's instrument has said that in some of these flights, there's one specific episode where all of a sudden the radar that tracks where the ground is, the altimeter, goes to like 30 feet, or like it's saying that they're 6 feet off the ground.
Right, and they think, I remember this, they talked about the fact that they felt like something was underneath them.
Yes.
Like something invisible was underneath the helicopter, even though they're at least 5,000 feet in
Right.
the air. The altimeter said that they were only 30 feet from the ground.
And then there's a video of, or a picture of something passing underneath it. And then
I remember that.
They have a gentleman now that does LiDAR scanning, and they've had the LiDAR up in the helicopter, and during real time, there's something following them, something you can't see with the naked eye, but something that shows up on the LiDAR scan that follows them around as they go around.
Dude, that's crazy.
So, something else too that I find really fascinating. So they have these UAPs, and they're just light orbs. And so on one of the times they're up in the helicopter, after they do the experiments and they're going through the data, they capture one of these light orbs flying towards the triangle, and it actually goes into the mesa in the east field, kind of to the northeast of them, and then comes out of the mesa right in front of the triangle and then disappears when it hits the triangle.
Whoa.
So, they're really kind of focusing on the UAPs and what that means, and yeah, I agree. I think they're kind of ignoring the paranormal side of this, because what I'm gathering, and this is just my personal thoughts, my personal views of it, is what they're experiencing is not necessarily alien phenomenon, but it's more interdimensional travel, interdimensional portals, interdimensional beings.
Now that I agree with.
That's
I think we're all on the same
that's
page
what
here.
I think is happening. But then again, these are scientists, and Travis Taylor was not a believer in UAPs before he came on this ranch.
I didn't know that because he's all for it
He's
now.
all for it now because of what he's seen, but he was very skeptical when he first started this.
So I think we finished with Bigelow, right?
Yeah.
We're on Brandon Fugel. I want to talk about real quick. Brandon Fugel, he buys the ranch in 2016. Within a year, he's filed for a trademark application under SkinWalker Ranch, both for multimedia and merchandise. And then he gets this series going. He's got a television series going.
Yes.
And that right there is pointed to by a lot of people. Well, there you go. He's, we've turned this into the Jurassic Park of the paranormal. He's making money off of this thing. That's the motive. Nothing that comes out of this can be trusted because there is an opportunity for money to be made here.
So
Go ahead.
If that's the case, then everything that goes on in this show has to be fake. Because he's just doing it to make money. Like everything is, because it very easily could be faked in a TV setting. We know that in a movie setting, all this stuff can be faked, but is it actually fake?
Which is why I wanted to go over that before we covered the show.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It very much could be fake, but how do you describe the people around? How do you describe the Shermans
Right.
sticking around? If their salary isn't worth it, why did he stay?
Yeah.
Why are his neighbors still reporting things? Why did Bigelow sell the property to another paranormal investigator if he thought that pony had ridden? If that ship had sailed, he made his money. Why didn't he just sell it to somebody else?
Some other real
he sold it
estate
specifically to another paranormal investigator.
And let's be clear, Brandon Fugel is a very well-known, very highly respected real estate investor in Utah. Very well connected as well. He knows the former governor of Utah. The former governor of Utah has been on his show talking about what's going on at this ranch. And, my brother has actually met Brandon Fugel, and he said to me, look, this guy knows how to make money and is in it for the money.
Interesting.
So
that's pretty damning.
when you read the fine print for the show, it says this is for entertainment purposes. And I feel like if we don't address that side of this whole discussion, we're doing a disservice because, it's up to you to what you want to believe. It's up to you how you want to believe in this, whether you believe in it or not. I personally believe what they're seeing and what's happening is real. And it's the first, to me, real evidence of something that's happening. I don't know that they're focusing on the right thing, like what you were saying, Cameron. I don't think they're focusing on the right thing. I think they're focusing on alien when I don't know that it's necessarily alien. I believe it's more interdimensional.
I think they're focusing on what will bring them the most views. I don't even think it really has to do with their own personal beliefs. The people boots on the ground probably have their own idea of what it is. But this is what they think will attract the most attention.
So, thank you for saying that. Here's my personal opinion. I believe probably at least half of what's being reported on the show is probably really happening. At least half. I'm willing to believe some segment of what is being reported is actually happening. Maybe most of it. But what we know from reality shows is those producers get in there and mess around with stuff to create the drama and create the reactions and to sell it. That's the producer's job, is to sell this show and to get those views and to be really provocative, right? So I personally question some of the discussions that they have. There was one episode where Like, it was so hokey. It was so ridiculously hokey. Travis and them are talking about, what do we think could be causing this? They're talking about the thing above the triangle, and they're first starting to do some laser mapping of the mountain. And he says, I think it's a portal. And then he flips over the chalkboard, and there's this drawing of a portal and some weird mathematical, like some really skinny, basic mathematical equations. Like, it may as well have been E equals MC squared. It was something hokey like that. What if it's a portal, he says. And it was clearly staged. Like, it was clearly staged. And I was like, that's interesting.
I would like to draw back to something simple, right? They got their hands on American Choppers. Remember that show?
Yeah.
That is a very straightforward show about motorcycles. About guys that aren't very emotional, just doing what they like. That's not good for views.
Nope.
What do? You create a drama show out of it.
Yep.
You had the father-son relationship fighting,
Which was
drama.
incredible.
Yeah.
So funny. The best memes, throwing chairs at each other and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
to finish my thought, so I looked it up. I'm like, wait a minute. Have we scientifically proven that portals are real? This is extremely interesting. I didn't realize we had made this much progress in quantum physics. Like, I don't know a lot about physics, but I was like, this is amazing. I want to look this up. So I searched for it. And what they have figured out is for a portal to be true. So, like, okay, it's all on the basis of the math, and the way what they figured out is it's based on imaginary numbers. So I don't know if the two of you recall what an imaginary number was. I had to brush up because I didn't remember. So, like, if you have exactly so if you have 25 and you take the square root of 25, it's 5. A square root is any number multiplied by itself that creates another number, right? So 25, the square root of 25 is 5. Well, if you have this, if you're looking for the square root of like negative 25, the way that you express that is 5i, and that I is an imaginary number which represents that negative value. That everything, all of the math hinges on these imaginary numbers, and they.
But no matter what 5 is, it's times something else.
Right.
Which
So
is not.
something else which cannot be. They don't know what that looks like in the material world. They don't know what the corresponding thing is that corresponds to that imaginary number. So in order for, it's like highly theoretical, and maybe not even possible because it all hinges on this imaginary number. So theoretically, maybe it would be possible, but they don't know what it looks like. They don't know how imaginary number might theoretically present itself in nature. They can't prove that. So when I was looking at it, the way that it was presented in this silly show was, here it is, here's the math, it's a portal, we've proved it, maybe this is actually what it is. They haven't even really solidified the math on it yet. There's several different theories about what a portal, like Einstein has a theory, a couple other guys have some different theories and some different math. Like, they don't even for sure know.
The closest we've come is black holes, where everything approaches 1.
Right.
That's not negative.
So I guess my point was, once I took a minute and like really, okay, this is interesting. That looked really hokey. I'd like to dig into that a little bit. And I digged into it. It's like, okay, that was clearly the producers fucking around, trying to create some level of drama for the viewer.
Right.
So, and it makes me wonder, when these guys are getting data, when they're talking about it, it's highly scripted. You can tell that it's scripted because they're saying the same thing slightly different ways in the different shots to each other, as if they're real conversations, but they're not real conversations. The one cute little guy, not Travis, but the other gentleman, the brunette gentleman who does a lot of like their radar and aerial stuff.
Oh, dragon?
No, not
Eric
Dragon.
Bard is the other guy.
Eric Bard, he's cute. He's a terrible actor.
Right.
He's like, his reactions are so over the top. Like, I can tell, like, okay, they told him he needed to act surprised, and this is his best approximation of surprised. So like how can I take anything that comes out of this show seriously? It's so difficult. But you're right, Jay. It comes back to what you said, JT. You have to decide for yourself. I think that the producers are taking real data and dressing it up a certain way to sell a narrative to the viewer. And I wonder what really happens on the other side of the cameras and what these people are actually thinking. Like, what do they really think?
Bottom line is
I don't
it's
know.
highly entertaining to a certain group of people, and I'm one of those people, and I'm very entertained watching that show. That's
I like it.
just me.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
it's-
I enjoy watching it. Whether it's true or not, who's to say? But it's interesting to me. It's fascinating to me. It's a
I will say at least they are presenting some of the findings. That's good.
Yes.
And so we can form our own hypotheses based off of their information,
Yeah.
regardless of what they're trying to make it for.
right.
I have one more thing I was thinking, and I wanted to see what you guys think about this. Now, Brandon Fugel is not a dumb guy, and he's paying some kind of living salary for all of these people on this ranch. So he's paying for Travis, he's paying for Eric, he's paying for Dragon, he's paying the 2 caretakers. One is an anthropologist, and the other one I don't remember. And there's more staff guys. Oh, there's another one whose name I can't remember. But he wears a cowboy hat all the time, like Dragon.
Jim Morse.
Oh,
Jim, yeah. He's
yeah,
good.
He's the military guy.
Yes, the ex-military guy. So, he's got all these people. He's paying some kind of a living wage. If we do the math and these guys are making, let's say they're making $60,000 a year, which hardly seems like enough, but okay. We got 10 people, $60,000 each. That's $600,000 a year. Plus, he's paying for, I'm sure, all of the utilities on this land. He's paying for every test that they're doing, and they do not look cheap. I don't even know how many rockets they've gone through, and these are state-of-the-art, high-tech gizmos. He's got radar on the property. He's got interface with the FAA and all of the aerospace stuff. He's got all of these screens and all of these tools and all of these things. That's a lot of money he's sunk into that ranch year after year. It would make sense to me from a business standpoint. How can I offset these costs? Maybe he's net zero on this, and the show allows him to continue doing these experiments.
That is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
Because so what I said is that they have a bias to produce content. That's the same thing as NIDS.
Right.
They had an incentive to produce content. They were unable to produce content. What they were able to do is produce data. Mm-hmm. Data that was interesting that they wrote a book about.
Yes.
NIDS went under, and the defense contract gave them a fraction of $22 million.
I really think that there's no way this show would have gone on this long if he is not making money. Mm-hmm. He is making money. There's a website. You can go be an insider. You can kind of see some of the filmings, but you have to pay for that content. There's merchandise galore, and there's enough people out there that are following this stuff and watching it like it's truth.
Yeah.
Like gospel.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to go to the bathroom real quick. I 100% want to continue, but I need to go.
Okay, let's have a little break.
I will be
We'll just leave the recording on,
back.
yeah?
Okay, sounds good. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Take the microphone in with you so we can.
You guys can keep
I'm just kidding.
talking. I'll just be back.
before you left? We were talking about the show and being net neutral, and JT said...
Well, so I was saying is that I'm just glad that they're presenting the information that they are collecting.
Right.
However, we are all kind of in agreement that they're forming the information to whatever hypothesis will make them the most viewers, which at the time seems to be aliens.
Seems to be aliens.
It's the most plausible. It reaches the most viewers as like something that's reasonably, could be expected. The government itself has come out about UFO
true.
phenomena
It's
recently.
definitely trending. Yeah. Kind of forgot about that with the whole. Then they talk about that all the time. The Nimitz thing, the Nimitz Tic Tac, all of the footage from the military releases. Yeah, they do.
And
You're
so
right.
I feel like it's
a marketing
the most
gimmick.
plausible versus exactly. It's the most trending, reasonable explanation for this, and so that is what they're angling the information towards, so that the most people are like, oh wow, they're actually catching information about this. Meanwhile, that's not really where the information is pointing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we left off, is he's saying, I'm glad they're still just recording. And I'm saying, no, me too, because they're still presenting the information they're collecting.
Yes, which is pretty awesome. It's really cool to be able to see very nearly in real time what's going on out there. That's actually a really neat thing.
Yeah.
I really like that. Okay. Do we have anything left to say? I do have, so if we're good with the secret of Skinwalker Ranch and Brandon Fugal and what's going on out there to present, and I feel like we said, you guys, murderers, just watch the show. It's on Netflix. You can YouTube clips. It's out there.
I did YouTube. It's free.
It's free. There's a lot of really neat stuff, and I feel like we've sort of talked about all of the variety of stuff that's happening, and so you can look into it and watch the show yourself if you want to see more. But Cameron, do you feel like we're good on this? Because there's two more things I wanted to touch on before we finish up.
I think we're good on the show. I
Yeah.
think we've covered most of what the Shermans had to do as far as what they're willing to admit. And that really isn't much, because they went back after the fact and said that's not true.
Yeah. Which is so
But,
crazy. I had not heard that. That's so crazy.
Yeah, they really did. After the book was released, they're like, no, that's not exactly right. And they didn't say what was wrong.
I wish they did. Okay. All right. So there's two topics. JT, I don't know if you recall this last time, but JT said he had found evidence of, or stories about, a Nordic version of the Skinwalker. And we got real excited, and then I forgot. But JT brought
Watch
it up again.
the movie The Ritual. It's about a Loki monster, a trickster demon that has a cult of people following it. And meanwhile, these college kids go out and disrespect one of the icons. The Ritual is basically a giant fucking skinwalker that is also a Loki demon.
Do you think that's fictional, though?
I think that's based off of actual lore.
So here's what
JT
I found. In Norse
Okay.
folklore, a skinwalker is a person who can travel in the shape of an animal and learn secrets or take on certain characteristic of an animal. The person is then said to be wearing that animal's hide. And the most well-known example of the latter is the warrior who takes on the strength and stamina of a bear, called bear shirt or bear sarkur. That's I think, Norwegian. The origins of the word berserker similarly.
Exactly.
They
Yep.
were wolf-based warriors.
I was going to say that. Thank you, sir. Berserkers.
or
The reason why they wore their skin, and only their skin, is because they were wearing leather hides. And they would paint themselves with the crushed berries of mistletoe, which actually had a numbing effect. So they were high on drugs, numb, and they would go into battle, and nothing could stop
Yes.
them.
So
there's a ritualistic
Absolute-
aspect to this, though, huh, JT?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they were said to, aside from the battle rage and the animal spirit granted, to have the ability to send out their soul in the form of their animal in a practice called harfarier, or shape journey. And so there's to a couple of, in mythology, the Norse hero Sigmund and his son Sinfidolfilodi. I can't say that right. They became.
How do you spell it?
It's Sinfiolti. They became skinwalkers
Okay.
for a short time, discovering 2 magical wolf skins that turned them into wolves.
Dude.
So that's
That's
from
so
the
cool.
North mythology, that they also had a version of Skinwalker. And
My fellow crows and or murderers. Differentiate yourselves how you will. But please watch Jackson Crawford. He has a lot to say about this matter. It is so interesting.
okay,
He wrote an entire book on the saggy trousers. The what's that Viking show called? Vikings.
yeah.
Lothbrok. The
Lothbrok.
Lothbrok.
You know, I love Jackson Crawford. If we're getting into he does the best translations. He
Really does.
I don't know if you know this, JT, but if you are interested in getting into some of the old lore, the Volspa and the Poetic Edda has Jackson Crawford has done translations, and he sort of like breaks down some of the kennings and some of the other cultural stuff that we lack here in the modern United States. Like, there's certain stuff that you would have just known as just being someone who grew up in that culture that we miss as modern Westerners because we didn't grow up in it. But Jackson Crawford like breaks all of that down and talks about a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
It's great. Jackson Crawford is fantastic, and he's highly recognized as a really fantastic researcher and translator. What'd you say?
Hailong. They're a group that does like historical music.
Oh, I love Hailong.
Oh God, they're so good.
They're the best.
They went on tour and specifically went to Colorado just to visit him. They have a
Really?
video where they're drinking with him. Yeah, it's so good. He partied with Hailong.
Oh my god.
It's so amazing.
They have that song, and god damn it, I'm thinking of Wardruna. I'm thinking of Wardruna.
Wardruna's good too.
So good. They're my
great.
favorite. They've got that really amazing one, the Viking Death Song, but that's not what
Yeah.
it's called. Damn it, what's it called? Oh, JT, if you haven't heard these songs, I'm gonna
JT, get
you're gonna love it.
prepared.
Send me
You're
a
gonna
playlist.
You are going to get
Hours
yourself
long, 'cause
a
each-
helmet with horns and skins, and you're gonna run around screaming at people. You're gonna be so excited about this music. It's so good.
You, sir, are about to protest at the White
Okay.
House.
Well, I do have a Thor's hammer that I got from a Viking village.
That's pretty fucking metal,
Yeah.
actually.
So,
Okay, Nordic Skinwalker. I did want to add, there actually are in a lot of different shamanic cultures. I would not say all of them, but in many of them, particularly in South America, there are plenty of stories of shamans who obtain the power of shape-shifting. And and just like you were saying, the Harfarrier, it's like this journey where their soul becomes material, and their soul becomes the body of this animal, and they can go out doing stuff. And there is a story, this man, one of these shamans, he went out and he could manifest as a panther in South America, and he was terrorizing this poor farmer's sheep. And one day the farmer went out and actually shot the panther and was so happy. He finally got this creature that had been destroying his sheep. And that same night that he finally killed the panther, the shaman died in the middle of trance work. The shaman had been out and said, I'm going to go do my shape-shifting thing. And then he died of a heart attack, basically. Like, this guy said he shot the panther point blank in the chest. The shaman died that same night from a heart attack. So, it's out there, it's so exciting to me to see these connections. I'm so glad that you shared this, because I'm definitely going to be looking into that more. But it is a known phenomenon in other animistic cultures that practice similarly to shamanism. One last one last topic I'd like everybody's opinion on. Let's have a good discussion about this. We've sort of alluded to our beliefs. Each of you, and I have an idea, but each of you, what do you think is actually on SkinWalker Ranch? What do you think is going on out there?
Well, I'll start with that, and there's some skepticism in me, but I believe that there is so many things going on there that it's hard to pinpoint exactly one thing. But I think the main thing that happens there, and I think this is connected to skinwalkers as well, is that there are portals that these beings or interdimensional creatures are coming through, and it is potential that skinwalkers are interdimensional creatures. Alien visitations, I'm not sure. I think it's more my views of aliens versus UFOs, UAPs, things of that nature. What they're seeing are not true UFO sightings. To me, they're portals. To me, they're ways for these beings or quote unquote aliens to travel here, and they're interdimensional, and they have. I don't know if they have technology greater than ours, or what exactly goes on there, but
Perhaps just different.
Yeah, different, but. That's where I'm at. I mean, I believe some of it. Yeah, seems a little like, okay, you're stretching a little bit here, but at some point, sometime in the future, we'll know for sure what's happening because something will manifest itself. I just think that we as a people need to be prepared first.
Interesting. So wait. Are you saying it's it's going to be like an intentional thing, and this is
like
a way, like we're a slow drip for people to kind of mentally prepare for when it is disclosed?
Yes, because of
So who is in charge of the disclosure?
Whoever these beings,
The entity
these
itself?
entities, whoever they are that are watching
Got
us,
it.
studying us, traveling here, whatever it is that they're doing, they're preparing us so that we don't attack them in mass as we would as human beings.
Got it. I'm with you on that. Okay.
Now, I don't think that they really care how we respond, except that they don't want the attention. I think it's a trickster god. I think it is an entity that regards as much as cattle, except in terms that we're more intelligent. So if it doesn't want attention, it will hide the evidence. I think we will never really know the mystery of SkinWalker Ranch because it doesn't want us to know. I don't think it's trickling information. I think it's giving us information.
Interesting.
The information
Perhaps
it wants
the
us to
reason
have.
why they're leading towards aliens is because that's what the trickster god wants us to think. That the beings are from on astral levels as opposed to metaphysical.
Okay.
That said, I think they're failing. I'm leaning towards metaphysical. I think this is a trickster god that is just playing with us, that still wants to have its cake and eat it too, us being the cake. And I think it's just toying with our curiosity. That's why we can't catch any real information about it.
Because it's
That's
in
why
charge.
every time that something happens, the cameras go down. I think that's why anything ever happens, there's the batteries die. I don't think it necessarily needs the energy to do these things. Because let's be honest, a camera's battery is not going to lift a pole digger into a tree 40 feet high.
Okay.
And at that time, there was no battery.
I would be curious to know the experiences of the camera crew, like the production crew that's out there, do they have a high incidence of electronics failing? And what about the
Probably not.
passive cameras that are out there all the time? It would be interesting to know that data. But you don't think so?
And I would say probably not. I think that the times the cameras go down, it's noted, and we know about it. I think this thing has energy of its own. It brings those down to sort of throw us off. But it doesn't need the energy. It just does that as a diversion.
Interesting.
My theory is, I think it begins with the land itself. I think that there's something about the land. Like, I believe land is sentient anyway. I believe the land is a living, breathing creature all by itself anyway. I also think that sometimes there's geology in place that makes certain things beacons, makes certain things thin spaces. So I think the land itself has its own sentience. And I think that's part of it. And I don't fully know how separated that it would be from like your trickster god Cameron, but I think there's something very special about that place. And not just SkinWalker Ranch, I think the whole Uintah Basin and the mountains, there's something special about that area, and I think there are similarly special places around the world. And in old terms, like I said already, we would call those thin spaces, a place where the veil is especially thin. In modern terms, I think we call it, just like you said, JT, this is where portals exist. I suspect there's probably, much like Sedona, there's probably a large occurrence of portals, and I'm not meaning that in the scientific wormhole portal, or I don't even know if, maybe someday we'll prove that they're one and the same.
They would be one and the same.
We'll see. Science will figure that out maybe in 100 years or so. But for certain, I know that I mean spiritual. I feel strongly, and I believe that it's spiritual. My hope is someday it can be proved that that is a real natural phenomenon that we just can't measure yet because we don't have the technology to do it.
There has been breakthroughs on micro black holes.
Cool. I know from the work I do, and JT, you already sort of backed this up, portals attract. Land like that attracts. There's something already there that makes it a desirable place to be. And I think probably we've got a lot of stuff happening. I think that there are entities that probably come and go. The wolf, other skinwalker type things, maybe, I don't know what Bigfoot is, but these hairy organisms that come and go. I think that it's maybe like a highway of creatures that come, do some stuff, and maybe move on because that's not the final destination. And I think that is partly why it's so difficult for them to create experiments. They're not in charge because a lot of the things there are transient. I suspect that the UAPs are essentially a couple of things, orbs, and we know, Cameron, from a lot of the work we've been doing, getting into these old stories, that some of these spirits were capable of having metal and wielding their own forms of metal and having little helmets and having little things. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility for me that some of these more powerful spirits might have metallic implements, craft, whatever, as they're moving along doing their things. Just like I think you were saying, JT, this transdimensional sort of movement. I believe strongly that a lot of the cancers and the radiation burns and the physical injuries, I think there's probably something happening on the non-visible spectrum, some kind of weird, something like lightning that has to be from the weird energetic potential of whatever's going on underneath the land. I think there there is at least one conscious and sentient being that is very powerful that resides there the majority of the time. Like, I think there's something
Hopefully
that
I'm
lives there
forward.
all the time that is messing with people. And whether it wants to be found or not, the relentlessness of this team is uncovering more and more about its nature. But they can't, I just don't think that we have all of the tools yet to understand the nature of this thing yet. But I suspect if we were 400 years in the past, 500 years in the past, this thing would have been considered a god to worship at. This maybe is a Lilin. This maybe is, it's something. It's something. So I think the weird chaotic nature and that strange Rorschach-ness and especially the hitchhiker effect, I think is from smaller transient things that come and go. But I do think that the majority of the conscious messing with people, I think I'm somewhere with you both, I guess is what I'm saying. I think it's a lot of stuff happening in one geographic location, and we are treating it as if it's one thing. But I think it's more than one thing. I think there's quite a bit happening out there. And that's why when you go and you're expecting to see a certain thing, you more than likely end up seeing that certain thing because that's what you're looking for. I don't know. I mean, I could see that argued both ways, but...
Imagine you're dealing with a tribal race, but you don't want them to understand where you're coming from, what you're doing. So you just sort of play with their own beliefs. What do they think is happening?
Mm-hmm. And just lean
That's what
into
they're
that.
doing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for having me on the show with you guys. I feel honored to be here.
Dude, honestly, it's been great having you.
Yeah.
We should honestly have you for other podcasts. I think you'd be a great reoccurring guest.
Well,
Yeah.
that makes me feel special. Thank you.
It's been really fun. I've loved all of the stuff you've had to add. It's been really fantastic to have a third
Exactly.
voice. All right. Well, this has been a ton of fun. So I think probably what I'm going to end up doing is chopping this into 2 different episodes. There is quite a bit that we can edit out, so we'll see how much time this actually is. But boy, this is quite a lot of recording.
It is.
This recording could potentially be chopped up into 2 different
Right.
episodes. So we might have SkinWalker Ranch is a 3-episode series.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. I've had a lot of fun.
Yes.
JT, if you want to come on again, reach out to
Okay.
Mandy. And Mandy, if he reaches out again, reach out to me. I'll probably most likely say yes. This dude, he's good.
He's
Good
good,
people.
right? JT's awesome.
Thank you.
One of my
Thank you.
favorite people.
An amazing radio voice, by the way.
Yes.
Oh,
Agreed.
Well, thank you.
All right. Cool. So, SkinWalker Ranch tackled. Cameron, what's the next thing? You usually
I'd
end up
say-
deciding.
Okay. All right. Fuck, I had one. Damn it. I was thinking we should go over, you know what we could go over? It's kind of cliche, but it is pretty much trending, 411.
I actually would love to do. It's a little bit heartbreaking, but now that I've sort of scratched the surface of it with these 3 stories that I presented, I am interested to learn more about the missing 411.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
JT, how do you feel about that?
I would love to listen to an episode about that because I know nothing about it.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Andy?
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, murderers, I hope you enjoyed this roundtable discussion and breakdown of SkinWalker Ranch. I had a lot of fun. I pretty much discounted SkinWalker Ranch just out of hand. I just thought it was a bunch of weird, crazy UFO stuff. But now I absolutely have no doubt there's definitely something happening there. So
I kind of got there to where there's nothing happening, and then I circled back.
did you?
Exactly. Yeah, no, this conversation led me to believing, like, okay, well, maybe there is something going on.
Yeah.
Watching that TV show made me think, wow, this is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing happening. They're just doing it for the views. Hearing JT's aspect and your aspect, okay, they're doing it for the views. However, there's something going on.
Definitely. There's definitely something there. We just don't know what. Oh, man. So much fun. All right. Thank you again, JT. Thanks,
Thank you.
Cameron. And thank you, murderers, for sticking with us. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And
JT, you're amazing. Thank you again.
so
Thank you,
amazing.
guys.
And Cameron, ready to end it? JT,
All
do you want to
right.
do it with us?
Yeah, hey.
The three of us. Ready? We just say whatever. Thank you for joining us from the Wandering Crow. Okay, on the
All not in unison.
Not
It's
in
good.
unison.
We do it every time.
We end up usually saying different things, but it's basically the same. So just think of what you want to say. Okay, ready? Thank you, murderers, and we'll
love
see you
murder.
next
Thank
time
you very much. Thanks for joining
you.
on
the
the
Wandering
Wandering
Crow.
Crow. I love it so much.
It's great.
Okay, I'm gonna stop now.